Hi everybody, welcome to Astrology. I'm just going to run through the black moons coming up in Virgo, and I'd just like to quickly announce too, on my Substack channel I've just posted a couple of presentations in regards to acupuncture, and one of them was based on Chinese astrology and Chinese medicine. And for those who really aren't familiar with that subject, well, basically in China, right, to be a practitioner of Chinese medicine, then you have to understand Chinese astrology. It's just one of those things. And the metaphysical component is basically their psychology. So I did a presentation on the 4 pillars, Ba-Zi, Chinese astrology, and its connection with acupuncture and things like this, but also to do with obviously one's fate and destiny. So that's up there. And then also I did a bloodletting seminar I did based on one of the 9 needles in acupuncture is the piercing needle, and it is all based on Master Tung's bleeding zones as well as ancient concepts to do with bloodletting in terms of sanitizing one's psyche and also for treating disease. So those presentations are now up on my Substack channel for people who are interested in those subjects. And now we're going to launch into the black moons coming up. One's in a few days, and the next one is connected to the partial solar eclipse next month in the sign of Virgo. And for those who don't know, the sign of Virgo is obviously mutable earth connected to the 6th house in astrology, and the 6th house rules health, hygiene, that being psychic and physical, diet, small intestine, I was going to say small intestine, I'm thinking Chinese astrology, small animals, which means pets, and servants. And of course that house is connected to daily routines and work routines, right? What we're running around on in terms of our day-to-day activities, right? But Virgo as a sign is considered cold, barren, dry. It's mutable, it's feminine, it's very mental, it can be melancholic, it can also be nervous, and it's highly, highly critical. Now, the sign of Virgo is connected to the Virgin, or the archetype of the Virgin, and for those who are really into the concepts of precession and astrotheology, well then by that means the Virgin gives birth to the sun, right? So that's a very interesting take for those who want to do some digging into astrotheology. So I just throw that in there. But so generally we'll just talk about the moons, because a lot of people on my eclipse thing wrote a few comments about how undetailed it was. Look, if you want detail, get an astrology reading. This is just a general overview of the moon. So new moons are usually ideal times, right, for setting intentions, breaking bad habits, and engaging in meditative self-inquiry in order, right, to achieve new goals. So the new moons are the darkest phase of the cycle. So they're all about germination and planting new seeds. So kind of in essence, new moons are about growth, and wherever they play out in our chart, right, are going to show the area of the growth we're going to be committed to, right, which is going to play out and manifest 6 months later when the full moon in Virgo comes into fruition. So, new moons are like testing grounds, right? You plant the seed in the area of the chart, and then 6 months later, usually something should have manifested from your intentions about what you want to achieve in that area of the chart it is hitting. That's really important. So astrology is really just all about planning and setting goals. So when I look at moons and things like this, right, I always pull out a tarot card, right, because astrology is related to the decans, right, the divisions of the quadrants of the houses. So when we look at a house, it's 30 degrees, and then we usually divide it by 10, and the decans are always connected to a tarot card, right? So I always look at this stuff. And so the new moon falls into the first decan of Virgo, right? Which is the 8 of Virgo in the tarot. And for those who want to know what that means, this is the 8 of discs. And so its frequency is the sun, and the quality is practicality, right? This decan refers to caution, efficiency, skills in details, and an active imagination are the chief factors in this character, right? So the conflict lies between the urge of ambition and the restriction of the prudent, analytical mind. So when we look at this card, the new moon really is in our birth charts is urging us to initiate something that requires meticulous detail to attention. It is urging us to finish anything we start and to be practical and efficient. So bear in mind, be careful, because Virgo is very analytical. So be careful of being overcautious, narrow-minded and prudish, or unwilling to commit to plans from overthinking. This is one of the negative sides of Virgo. We can overthink ourselves into a way of not doing anything. It's almost like the earth sign in earth element in Chinese medicine when we're out of balance, right? Particularly, say someone in Chinese astrology has got yin earth day masters, or particularly yin earth day masters can be connected to that kind of Virgo frequency where you can tend to be OCD, overthink things, and overthink your way out of doing things. So the best thing for this moon is don't waste time on unimportant things where we lose vision and perspective. So use the frequency of this the sun that this card is connected to bring out confidence in applying our creative expression and learn how to play. So, because the 8 of Virgo can take life rather seriously and earnestly, so it's important to understand that solar principle, almost like that Leo quality which this card is connected to, because the frequency is the sun of this card. So we need to become more creative to express ourselves and learn how to have fun, right? Instead of overanalyzing too much. So this new moon also has its fair share of challenges with it, like it's squaring Uranus, so there's going to give us some sudden change and opportunity in unexpected ways. But it also is in conjunction with Pluto, Neptune and Saturn, because Saturn and Neptune are conjunct at the moment, and the other angle of it is in conjunction to Pluto. So the inconjunct aspects are quite difficult to understand, actually, and they really play out and apply through medical astrology, which I've found over the years, but they're very interesting aspects. And so their impact are usually hidden and mysterious and applied, like I said, to the field of medical astrology, but the inconjunctions can bring disconnection between the two planets. So Neptune in conjunct to the moon, right, which is what this new moon is going to be connected to, can indicate that we can be confused about our feelings and easily pick up energies from other people, right? Because Neptune dissolves boundaries and we tend to take on people's shit when we're too close into their fields. It dissolves the boundaries, and it's very hard to discriminate between what I'm feeling, or am I picking up what they're feeling, or is this mine? This kind of thing, right? And which can just create a lot of confusion around our feelings. The moon in conjunction with Pluto can show that our emotions are really intense and not easy to deal with. And the intense feelings can make us want to withdraw from the world. Whereas Saturn in conjunction to the moon can conflict our emotional security with the need to live with the world's demands, burdening us. Saturn always gives us a few burdens to deal with. But in terms of that, though, Saturn conjunct the moon can make us accept and love ourselves for who we are and have the self-confidence to deal with the world, right? That's the challenge of that. Now, I'll touch on the Uranus squares when I just go through the 12 signs. But I would suggest, right, for people who do struggle with these kind of inconjunct aspects, right, that are coming in, that are difficult in terms of the feeling nature, or it's going to affect our psyches potentially, as they do. It's really, really important to get the body work done, because the body is the shadow of the psyche, right? So things like massage, rolfing, acupuncture and things like this can really help us process emotion, which is really, really important, right? We want to play it out through the body. We want to have the body work. It's really, really important. So I'm going to briefly go through the new moon in the 12 signs of the zodiac. And for Aries rising, the new moon was going to be in the 6th house. So new moon intentions will be focused on health, pets, service, and daily routines. It's a good time to set intentions around these areas. And the square to Uranus from this can bring sudden changes in awareness to these areas. So sudden changes and challenges can come up in communications that take place in the workplace, right? Because the 6th house is all about work. And if we've got health issues, right, they may have been ongoing. If you've got ongoing health issues, now's a good time to set your intentions and get on top of them. Because that Uranian square can bring up sudden awareness around it if we don't have them. And then if we do, and we are aware of them, then it's time to deal with them. And there can be kind of upsets and upsets in daily routines and your schedules as well. So the workplace, there can be a lot of sudden changes all around that. And so we'll move on to the Taurus, 5th house. New moon intentions are focused on creative hobbies, romance, having fun, right? 5th house is all about playtime, children, and taking risks, right? Taking creative risks. The square to Uranus from this angle can bring out sudden changes in finances. So be careful of what you invest in, and focus on new ways to create, as there could be breakthroughs 6 months later when this new moon manifests in this, when the full moon manifests 6 months later in terms to do with finance, right? Because for the Taurian types and the Taurian rising, Uranus you're going to be having that square from the 2nd house. So there could be, I think this is a good time to challenge yourself to put out a creative project of some kind, and there could be a breakthrough, right? In some area 6 months later from here when that full moon manifests. And so like I said before, 6 months ahead is always a good time to look at what you've started at this point in time and what it is you want to set your intentions with this new Virgo moon. So we've got Gemini in the 4th house, and new moon's intentions can be obviously connected to ancestry, home, and family. So the square of Uranus may bring sudden unexpected surprises around the home and family. The changes that happen in the family may affect your immediate environment and how you present yourself to the world, because this is squaring from the 1st house. The 1st house is from your immediate environment. And so for those who work from home, there'll be a feeling and the urge to get out of there, right? Because you might feel confined, constricted. The Uranian square is challenging. Okay, I'm done with this. Let's just get out. And it's also a good time to set intentions for moving or buying a home. So Cancer in the 3rd. So the new intentions are focused on communication, siblings, educations, and short journeys. So this is a good time to look at changes in the way you think, as the 3rd house represents your mind, right? You can be challenged from the Uranian square, right, to challenge your thinking, change it, alternative thinking, or alternative solutions to problems you're having, maybe on an intellectual level, or challenge your thinking with something you're actually learning. Now, the challenge will be coming from the 12th house, because when Uranus is in there, right, it can really interrupt the sleep patterns. So there can be unconscious surprises in thoughts and feelings at this time, or messages can suddenly appear during sleep. So Leo, you're going to be feeling it in the 2nd house, which is to do setting your intentions with finances, spending habits, and obviously self-worth, self-esteem. So unexpected security can come through networking with friends due to the square in the 11th house, which has a lot to do with groups, networking groups, social groups. And I would say, just for the Leo rising, it's a really good time to set your intentions around your financial situation, right? If you've got financial goals, now's a good time to really set these, as it's in the 2nd house, a lot to do with the money and finance. And like everything, when we've got Mercury on the cusp of the 2nd house, either that being Virgo or Gemini, then we usually got to pay attention to the Mercury retrogrades, because there can be really a lot stronger ebbs and flows when it comes to finances. And of course, Mercury rules exchange as well. So that's another important thing to consider. But I would definitely be paying particularly good detail to your financial situation and how you can manifest what you need, what your needs are within the next 6 months. Now for Virgo and for the Virgo rising, we have the house new intentions are focused on you, which is all about the 1st house, right? First house is your immediate environment, your body, and it also the square to Uranus indicates changes in your career or how you're perceived professionally, such as status change as well as relationships, because it's squaring from the 10th house, which is the house of how you appear out into the world and how you appear professionally. So I would say it's probably good time. There can be really good change if you want to change something around your profession. Now is a good time, and set your intentions to be the best version of yourself. And then we've got Libra, which is in the 12th house. So new intentions are focused around the area of the 12th, the house of the psyche, the house of confinement. This can be a good time to sanitize your psyche and set your intentions around inner work. What do you want to declutter, so to speak, in your own psyche? So this new moon in the 12th is a time to check in with spirit and mental and emotional health. Uranus is squaring the moon from the 9th house, the house of open knowledge, travel and education. And this could be a good time too. There can be tensions in regard to educational pursuits at this time, or it may actually give you sudden desires to want to break free and travel, as the 9th house is all about exploring foreign lands and higher philosophies, education, these kind of things. Then we've got Scorpio in the 11th, and the new intentions are focused on goals, groups, and social networks. This is the house of hopes and wishes. It's a good time to set your intentions around what you're actually aspiring to. So the moon is squaring Uranus in the 8th, which can indicate changes in joint finances to do with groups and communities. And Sagittarius in the 10th, we have the new intentions are focused on careers, can be positive. If you're looking for new work at this time, it's a good time to upgrade your resume and setting intentions around personal ambitions. That Uranian square is going to be hitting you from the 7th, so there can be tensions within personal and professional relationships. There can be sudden changes in those areas. Now we've got the Capricorn new moon the Capricorn in the 9th house. New moon in Virgo is setting your intentions around focus, travel, higher education, philosophy, and expanding the mind. So if you're thinking about studying or a higher form of education, now is the time. This new moon is squaring Uranus in the 6th house, disrupting daily work routines and schedules. So don't expect things to go too smoothly. And the changes could be to do with unexpected travel for work. And we've got Aquarius in the 8th. New moon in the 8th is setting your attentions around joint resources, emotional intimacy, transformation. It can also be do with either clearing up debts and taxes. And Uranus is squared in the 5th house, indicating potentially taking risks with joint investments. It can also mean that you have new unconventional ways of creating at this time, and changes could happen with your children during this time, because it's squaring the 5th house, right? It has to do with children. And you may be focused on paying debts and also setting new intentions to open up intimately with your partner. And Pisces rising, you're going to be experiencing it in the 7th. So new intentions are focused on new relationships, new partnerships, new connections. So the 7th house does also rule the marketplace, so it can be a good time to put something out there, actually, if you've been wanting to put it out to the world. And also Uranus squaring the moon is in the 4th. So over the next 6 months, there can be changes in relationships, which will be changes on the home front. It could mean that you meet someone and decide to move in with them. And I'd also say for the Piscean rising as well, it is also the season, because being the moon in conjunction with the South Node is clearing anything to clear out relationships that have kind of something from the past connected to them. It's a good time to clear anything that it does not serve you so well in the relationship realm. So that's my little take on the black moons that are coming up this month, and we're strapping ourselves for eclipse season. So for those who listen to the end, you can feel free to follow me on my Substack channel. On my website, Astropillars Astrology, I have a newsletter. You can subscribe to that. And a few times a year, I offer some discounts to do with astrological readings. And for those who want to book acupuncture treatments and Chinese medicine, then my bookings are available there online as well. So thank you for listening, and we'll be in touch soon.